So the Wall Street narrative is, we're there. Job creation is slow, wage growth is slowed in real terms. It has labor force participation is not going up, at least not, just noise, kind of on a month-to-month basis. And the Fed's going to get the message. You're going to stop raising rates, soft landing, Goldilocks, and then they're going to cut rates. So buy tech stocks. That's kind of how Wall Street thinks. They're just trying to sell you some tech stocks. They're wrong too. Powell's wrong for the reasons I mentioned. Wall Street's got it wrong too, because inflation is coming down. That's empirical. There's no debate about that. But it's coming down for really bad reasons, which is the economy is hitting the wall. And not just the U.S. This is a global phenomenon. We're looking at a global recession, and they're rare. For a major economy, the U.S. or China or EU, UK, whatever, to go into recession, it happens. And then somebody else has growth, and they kind of pull everybody out of the ditch. But a global recession is highly unusual, and that appears to be what we're heading for. The other thing where the cheerleaders are out is the China reopening story. So they spent 3 years basically putting people in concentration camps, quarantine lockdowns, no travel. The examples of people, in hazmat suits welding steel bars in front of apartments so people couldn't get out because they had COVID, and they're jumping out of windows and killing themselves. Testing tents every 2 blocks. You had to be tested 3 times a week, et cetera. Horrific, which it doesn't work, by the way. The virus goes where it wants. That was my last book, The New Great Depression. It's a respiratory virus. Masks don't work. The vaccines are not even vaccines. They're experimental gene therapy treatments, if you want to get it. But none of this worked. So now that we got past the 20th National People's Congress, National Party Congress, and Xi is, I call him Chairman Xi, is now emperor for life, which he is. They can kind of leave that behind. They pivoted. They say, okay, now we're just going to let it rip. We're just going to let it rip. That's the new policy. It was 100% political. None of this was ever based on medical or evidence or public policy. But he just wanted to get the third term under his belt before they let the thing rip. So
isn't that incredible that that's what they were waiting for, to basically change the entire policy for 1 billion plus people?
Correct. And when they said, and they're shameless and they're liars, and what they said was, well, our COVID, they call it zero COVID, our zero COVID lockdown policy was so successful that we can now let it rip and we'll be fine. I mean, everything about what I just said is a lie, but I read a lot of Chinese information and translations. So that is what they're saying. But what does let it rip mean? And you're right, Brian, it's 1.4 billion people. So if you assume a 30% infection rate, which is probably low, it could well be 50%, but even 30%, that's 420 million infections. And if you assume a low fatality rate, 1/4, 1%, and that's probably low, that's between 1 and 2 million dead. And not only that, they don't have the hospital facility. Now, U.S., U.K., Europe had to power through it. And I'm a little critical of Boris Johnson, but to his credit, he did end the extreme lockdown earlier, which was a very smart thing to do. And UK got to something like herd immunity sooner than the rest of the world. So I think the UK got that. Everybody got it wrong at the beginning. It was a question of when were you going to wake up. And UK, I think, did a better job of that than a lot. US finally got there. Europe finally got there. But we did have the hospital facility. They were taxed. There were people waiting, but we managed to it. China isn't even close. They don't have the beds. They don't have the ICU facilities. They don't have the oxygen. And back to the supply chain for 1 second. You hear, supply chain problems over. Well, okay, Port of LA cleaned up the backlog a little bit, but now you go to the store. You're a suburban housewife in outside of Philadelphia or something. Or anywhere in the country, you cannot get Tamiflu, you cannot get ibuprofen, you cannot get cough medicine. This is over-the-counter drugs. Those shelves are bare. Why? The answer is 80 to 90% of it comes from China. And the Chinese know that when you have 420 million infections and you don't have a hospital facility, they're going to have to self-medicate. So they are stripping the shelves bare on their side. They're buying all the ibuprofen, the Tamiflu, and everything else. So they don't have anything to ship to us. A case study in dependency, but also shows how the supply chain dysfunction continues. And again, I actually do read a lot of Chinese stuff in translation. They're recommending TCM. What's TCM? traditional Chinese medicine. That's a euphemism for like, we don't have any medicine or hospital facilities, so good luck. So back to, herbal teas and, I don't know, acupuncture, whatever. And I'm not dinging that. There may be something to it, but that's what they're recommending, traditional Chinese medicine.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.